So coming up this weekend is going to be UFC Vegas 91, also known as UFC Fight Night, Nicolau versus Perez. And of course, this is a follow-up video due to my early predictions video a couple of weeks ago. And that's just because there was a little bit of a break in between UFC 300 and this one. And to be honest, there is absolutely a polar opposite between this card and the UFC 300 card. I don't have the greatest expectations for this card personally. I just don't really see it being the best card that the UFC's put on. I even said on Twitter, I think it might be one of the worst cards that the UFC's put on. But as is always with these UFC Apex cards, there's always fun fights, there's always going to be finishes, and there's always going to be fighters that do take the most out of an opportunity of being on a card like this and making themselves the highlight and the spotlight of the card. I also did delay this video a little bit because I knew James Llontop was going to get a replacement opponent, and when it was announced to be Chris Padilla, I thought it was going to be someone else. I mean, there were rumors of a fighter that is undefeated that was going to take the fight. That didn't end up happening. I'm not going to say who it is. They're probably going to be on the Contender Series. Chris Padilla got the call. So let's see how that fight ends up. Of course, before I do get into it, there is a lot of content on the We Want Picks premium membership service, which is $10 per month, but you can get a 3-day free trial if you do sign up using my code ARTEM. And then, of course, after that 3 days, it is $10 per month, but you can cancel during that 3-day period of time. And with that, you get Angelo and Jacob from We Want Picks Bets. You get my article that I write every single week. And then also you do get a lot of other tools and content from other creators. The AI is there as well that predicts fights. There's quite a lot going on. And also, for free, you can join the We Want Picks Discord, which I do encourage you to join if you did want to talk with a lot of like-minded people that want to talk about the UFC, that want to talk about MMA, and even other sports as well. It's a pretty good time. Starting off the card is going to be Maheshate Hayisaer taking on Gabriel Benitez. I do like Maheshate a bit in this fight. I do think he's going to knock out Gabriel Benitez. Gabriel Benitez is a former featherweight, and I just don't think he's that big at 155 pounds in general. And even then, he has been finished quite a lot in his career. He's been knocked out, I think, 3 times and submitted 4 times. I think Maheshate is going to be able to knock him out. I think Maheshate, as a pure striker, is a very good striker. Yes, he did lose to Vyacheslav Borchev, but Vyacheslav Borchev, I do believe, is a very underrated fighter, very underrated, talented striker at this weight class. He lost to Rafa Garcia, but that's just a bad matchup for him, as Garcia is a boxer wrestler. Before that, though, he knocked out Steve Garcia. That's a really good knockout win. I do think he's going to be able to knock out Gabriel Benitez. Benitez has been knocked out before. He's been finished before. I don't think he's going to be able to take down Maheshate, which could potentially be a big weakness in his game. I think he's going to keep it on the feet. I think he's going to knock out Benitez. So give me Maheshate by KO in the first 2 rounds, I would say. Ivana Petrovic taking on Liang is a fight which, if you're wanting to bet on this fight, just don't. Just don't put any money on this fight at all. But if you were to put money on, it's probably on Liang. I mean, I feel like Jacob from We Want Picks has actually given a pretty decent breakdown of this fight on the positive side of Liang, of picking Liang and thinking she can get the finish. But I really want to pick Liang as well. I'll be honest, I'm really tempted because I'm not confident in Petrovic whatsoever. She did disappoint me a lot in her debut. She kind of looked like, this is going to sound so disrespectful, but in her debut, she looked like she had absolutely no idea what to do. She wasn't strong enough to deal with Luana Carolina. She might not be strong enough to deal with Liang, who we have seen knocked down Ariane Canelossi, put Silva Gomez Suarez in some problems in the ground, put Canelossi in some problems in the ground. The thing is with Liang, if she gets it out of the first round, she's going to gas. Liang has absolutely no gas tank whatsoever. She's incredibly dangerous, though. Does have power on the feet. Does have power on the ground. She is a very fun fighter to watch, to be fair. But I think that Petrovic is just going to be able to work against the clinch, against the cage and the clinch. This would be a fantastic fight just to pick the underdog, because if you're wrong, you picked a plus 400 underdog and you were wrong. It is what it is, but I'm going to pick Petrovic. I don't feel good about it. I don't think many people should feel good about picking Petrovic either. I think she gets like a 3rd round TKO or a decision win over an incredibly gassed out Liang. And now we've got the fight, which I did delay my video for, James Llontop taking on Chris Padilla. The first thing I'm going to say about Chris Padilla is, where's the tape on this guy? I couldn't really find anything. He was fighting for this promotion called Up Next Fight League. I had never heard of it before. I think it's probably a decent regional show to watch if there are shows in your area, because they do have decent fighters on the cards, but I went to their website to hopefully get some event replays, and it looked like they're all on pay-per-view or on some sort of cable service if you're in the US, and I'm in New Zealand, so that didn't help. And then I was able to watch a couple of fights that were uploaded to the Up Next Fight League YouTube channel, thankfully, but I didn't really learn much about him. He seems like a boxer that keeps a very high guard. He seems like a guy that likes to work for takedowns in the clinch and then dominate with ground and pound. At least that's what he did in the fight that I watched against LJ Porti. It seems like this fight against Justin James was a very controversial stoppage, as Justin James went on a bit of a media run talking about it. And to be fair, I haven't watched the fight. I didn't watch the interviews, but from what I saw in one screenshot, it looked like it was potentially finished due to shots to the back of the head. There was controversy there. As I said, I didn't see the fight because I couldn't find a thing on this guy. Okay, I need to calm down. I'm picking James Llontop. Once again, there's just nothing on Chris Padilla. I don't really know much about him. Looks like a boxer. I think James Llontop isn't that great. I was picking against him. I was picking Gabriel, but he is a pretty decent striker with a lot of patience. Can work in takedowns if he needs to. Seems like he's going to have a big size advantage, but Padilla does look like a guy that is in pretty good physical shape, that is quite well built, and James Llontop does seem like he does have a little bit of softness to him, at least from the fights that he has had and on the Contender Series. I think Llontop wins. I don't feel great about it. I mean, we'll just see how it goes. This card, huh? Ketlen Souza taking on Marnic Mann. I'm actually going to pick Ketlen Souza to win this fight by finish. I just don't know how I feel about Marnic Mann. As I said in my early prediction video, I think that she's too small for this weight class. If there was a woman's atomweight, I genuinely believe that Marnic Mann would be fighting in it. She's tiny for strawweight, and she's a wrestler with kind of nothing else to give. She likes to move forward, she likes to shoot for takedowns, but she's going to be taking on a bigger, stronger fighter in Ketlen Souza, who's probably going to go for her own takedowns and is going to be significantly better on the feet as well. Marnic Mann, she's not a very good striker at all. Seems like she might even have some cardio problems as well. I just don't really see too much that Marnic Mann can do to Ketlen Souza to win the fight. I mean, Marnic Mann versus Liang. Okay, it's a completely different weight class. What am I even yapping about? I'm picking Ketlen Souza. I was going to say that would be a good fight, and it probably would, but I'm picking Ketlen Souza, and I'm picking Ketlen Souza by finish. I think she is going to be able to finish Marnic Mann in this fight. Dante Almays is going to be fighting Caio Machado. Caio Machado lost his UFC debut. I believe he was the underdog at some point. Now he's not anymore. Which kind of makes sense, I guess, because I was picking Machado. I wasn't that confident in it. I don't think that Machado is the better striker in the fight, because everything that I've seen from him, he's very, very sloppy on the feet. Like, he just leaves himself so open. I just need to... Quite a stressful week for me, because I've got an exam at the end of the week, and then an exam next week, but... So gotta remain cool. Gotta remain cool. But I picked Kevin Szymanski to beat Caio Machado on the Contender Series, because when I watched tape on Kevin Szymanski, he looked like a really good boxer that was throwing a decent amount of volume. And he goes out there against Caio Machado and throws 9 strikes the entire fight. He throws nothing. Caio Machado boxed him up, and it was embarrassing for me. Oh my goodness. I think Caio Machado is actually a really good grappler. I think if he wins this fight, it's got to be with the grappling. I think we're going to see takedown attempts from Machado. I'm going Machado submission. I don't feel good about it. He's not the better striker in this matchup. Mays is, but May fights like an idiot, man. He throws jumping knees. He throws spinning kicks. Come on, man. You're a 6'6" heavyweight. You don't need to be doing any of this. Just box him up from range. I'm picking Machado. I think he's going to run forward like an idiot, but he's going to get takedowns, and he's a good grappler. Enough said. Austen Hubbard versus Michal Figlak. Who cares? Who cares? Honestly. I'm going to pick Michal Figlak. I mean, once again, I don't even know that much about this guy, because Michal Figlak fights in a different style in a bunch of different fights. Like, sometimes... So I just hit my mic. That would have been horrible for you guys. Sometimes he's a striker. Sometimes he's a wrestler. What I think of Michal Figlak is he is a wrestler that shoots takedowns quite a lot, but he didn't really do that too much against Farisa Yam. He usually uses a pretty decent size advantage for lightweight to take people down. And Austen Hubbard, he's decent. I mean, he was in the UFC at one point, got released, come back after a couple of wins on the Ultimate Fighter. Whatever. Michal Figlak should be able to out-wrestle him, should be able to beat him. That's it. We're moving on. Rani Yaya taking on Victor Henry. Victor Henry is minus 500. Why? Why? I mean, I understand, to be fair. I think that Victor Henry is the much better striker than Yaya. Yaya's only got grappling, and at this point of the career, it's really all he's got. He doesn't really have wrestling. Oh, he does. But it's not going to be good enough to take down Victor Henry. I've seen Henry go out there and dominate. Who did he dominate? Rayane Barcelos out of absolutely nowhere, threw like a record number of bantamweight strikes. It was just an unreal performance, and then he lost. He just turned around and lost to Rafael Assunção. He was like 46 years old at the time. I mean, MMA just doesn't make sense. But now he's taking on... Oh, no, he's going to lose, isn't he? Because he just lost to a 46-year-old Assunção. Now he's taking on a 52-year-old Yaya. Yaya's probably going to beat him as a plus 380 underdog. I'm picking Victor Henry. I think he out-volumes on the feet. What? Tim Means versus Uroš Medic. Uroš Medic, oh no, but Tim Means is a really good underdog, man. He is, because Tim Means is a tricky fighter to deal with on the feet and in the grappling as well. The problem with Tim Means is he has been finished a couple of times in his career. I think he has only been knocked out like once, though. Am I correct in saying that? Yes. He's been KO'd twice, but he has been submitted a lot. I don't think there's much of a submission threat from Uroš Medic, though, to be fair. Medic lost his debut. No, he didn't. He beat Simmelsberg and he lost to Uruguay. Means isn't going to be able to do what Uruguay did to him. And on the feet, I do think Medic is going to be able to outstrike him on the feet. Means is such a good underdog, though, man, because Means is a tough guy to fight. Like, he's got a long, rangy style. He's going to have the size advantage in this fight. Medic hasn't really had to deal with that except for the one time he fought Jalen Turner. It's a tough fight for Medic, man. I wouldn't be betting him at minus 300, I mean. But yeah, I'm going to pick Medic. KO over Means is kind of rich to pick. As I said, Means has only been knocked out twice in his career. He's a crafty veteran on the feet. He's good. But I'm going to pick Medic. I'm picking Medic. Lock it in by decision. Jonathan Pearce versus David Onama. Jonathan Pearce should be able to win this fight. He really should. He should be able to out-wrestle David Onama. He should be able to take him down over and over and over again, because that's what he does. This guy is absolutely relentless with the grappling, and he is massive for featherweight. He's huge. He's going to be, I mean, damn, Onama's 5'11" as well, but I feel like JSP is going to be huge compared to him. And he's just relentless, as I said. I mean, this guy gets like so many takedowns around. He doesn't really have the best control, but when he does get you down, he's there to do damage over and over and over again. He's just taking you down. He's dealing damage on top. He had a pretty bad performance against Darren Elkins, in my opinion, but he still won the fight anyway. He was looking good against Joannis and Brito until he made a fool out of himself. Choked the fuck out. But yeah, I think that he's going to be able to take down Onama. Onama's going to be able to absolutely box him up on the feet, though, which I guess is something that you are worried about. But I think that JSP should be able to just get him down. He's gonna wrestle. There's no way JSP's gonna strike with this guy. He didn't want to strike with Brito. Why is he gonna want to strike with Onama? And Onama's got gas tank problems as well. Onama gassed, man, against Nate Landwehr. And he was taken down a lot when he was gassed. I think JSP's just gonna dominate him with that, man. I'm gonna go JSP. I'm gonna go JSP round 3 TKO or decision, because I think if Onama does gas, he might be able to finish him. Jhonata Diniz is fighting Austen Lane. Good fight. Fun fight. Someone is going to get absolutely slipped in this matchup, because you got Jhonata Diniz, the former Glory kickboxer, taking on Austen Lane, who I think was like an American football player at some point and also a wrestler at some point. And I think he kind of still is a wrestler at his base, but doesn't really seem too keen on the wrestling in the UFC, which is fine. But not when you're taking on Jhonata Diniz, who's going to be the better striker than you. The problem with Diniz, though, that I do have is he is slow. This guy is not fast. I mean, he's probably one of the more powerful guys at this weight class now, with his Glory kickboxing background, with his big frame, with his big size. He probably does hit damn hard. But I mean, Austen Lane could take him down. I've got no idea how good Jhonata Diniz looks on the ground. I don't know how good his wrestling defense is. Because he's just knocked everyone out in the first. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind, because Diniz is knocking everybody out in the first round, and it's kind of the only way that he wins. He's gonna have to knock out Austen Lane. So, what am I yapping about? I'm picking Diniz by round 1 KO. Austen Lane leaves himself wide open in the pocket, and Diniz is going to be able to counter him because he's a Glory kickboxer. Karine Silva's taking on Ariane Lipski. I mean, Karine Silva was at one point the underdog, and if you got her as the underdog, it was smart. But I feel like beating her as the favorite now, I'm not so sure. I mean, Ariane Lipski does have really good takedown defense. She is going to be the better technical striker here. I was going to say she's going to have the longer reach, but that's not true, which is interesting because I don't really see Karine Silva as being someone that fights with range well, and Lipski does. So I guess Lipski's going to be able to fight from range with her kicks, but Karine Silva's going to be trying to charge forward and get takedowns, and I know that Lipski's got an 80% takedown defense or something crazy like that. Silva's bigger, she's a good wrestler. I think she's going to take down Lipski, and I do think she's probably going to find a finish at some point. It's not like Lipski's never been finished before in her career. I know she's on a great run right now, but she has been KO'd 4 times. I think she was knocked out on the feet by Priscilla Cachoeira. Not a good loss, and then Montana De La Rosa, who in my opinion fights with a relatively similar style to Karine Silva, was able to TKO her on the ground as well. TKO by Antonina Shevchenko. I mean, what's going on? What's going on? Anyway, I'm picking Karine Silva. I mean, I guess since Ariane Lipski hasn't been subbed, I guess it would be smart to pick Silva by KO. So I'm just going to pick Silva by KO. Let's get rolling to the 2 fights I'm really excited about. This video is a complete mess, but it's fine. Ryan Spann versus Bogdan Guskov. I'm picking Ryan Spann. I don't feel that good about it though, because for a few reasons. I don't know how I feel about Ryan Spann. I have said in the past, I'm not too high on him. I don't think he's that great. Like he's got crazy power. He's just dangerous on the ground. But aside from that, he's kind of doesn't really have much other than that. Doesn't really have the best cardio. Doesn't really have the best fight IQ. Doesn't really have the best defense. But Bogdan Guskov, I think this guy's a big time fade just in general. Like you go through his career, and I did pick him to beat Zach Puga, and he might have done that as like a slight favorite, which is interesting. He did as an underdog. This guy was an underdog against Zach Puga, and now he's fighting Ryan Spann. How does this stuff even happen? But the one fight that he did get TKO'd in prior to the UFC against this Vyacheslav Vasilevsky guy, in 3 minutes, Vyacheslav was able to back him up and land on him, and Guskov collapsed. He gave up in that fight, and he got TKO'd. What happened against Volkan Oezdemir? He got smoked. He wasn't good enough. He wasn't ready for that competition, I think in this one here, I think Guskov might have success in the first 90 seconds, but as soon as Spann lands a big shot, as soon as Spann backs him up, hurts him to the body, maybe even takes him down, I think Guskov is going to give up, and I think Spann's going to finish the fight like that. This fight ain't going over 1.5 rounds. Ain't no way. I think Spann's going to finish him, though. I think Guskov, he gasses out in 3 minutes. He doesn't deal with pressure. He's got no grappling. All he's got is power. That's it. He's not even that, technical either. He's just a power merchant, I guess. I'm picking Spann. Nicolau versus Perez is a fight that is happening in the main event, and I know people are clowning this main event a lot. I don't think it's that bad, to be honest with you. It was great at one point because it was Matheus Nicolau taking on Manuel Camp, and that would have been a great fight. I think, was there going to be a rematch as well? Am I incorrect in saying that, or am I correct? Oh, there was going to be a rematch. I'm pretty confident it was. It was due to a somewhat controversial split decision. And then the winner of that fight, well, if Carp beat Nicolau, he probably would have been fighting against Alejandro Pantoja next, or the winner of Alejandro Pantoja versus Steve Erceg. But now it's probably going to go to Amir Albazi. Or who else is there? Maybe Mikhaev? Probably Albazi. Isn't Albazi injured, though? There's a lot going on. Perez, huh? Pulled out of 10 fights over the last few years, 3-fight losing streak. But he's still a good fighter. I mean, there are a lot of people out there that do think he beat Muhammad Mikhaev, but one thing that I have learned about Muhammad Mikhaev is I don't think Mikhaev is a good striker, man, at all. Because what I've seen from Muhammad Mikhaev is who did he struggle with on the feet? He struggled with that Canadian guy that I think has even been cut. Marcus, oh man, what's his name? Malcolm Gordon. Malcolm Gordon gave Mikhaev trouble on the feet, I think Mikhaev, I think he's trying to rush himself way too much, and he was down 2 rounds to Tim Elliott before finishing him in the 3rd round, Phil Ho. I don't know, man, I know Mikhaev is up there, probably is going to be deserving of a title shot with another big win, but I'm kind of looking at Mikhaev and someone's going to beat him soon, I feel like he's rushed himself to the top too fast. nothing to do with this fight, though. I mean, Alex Perez is going to be dangerous on the feet, but Nicolau can work in takedowns. Nicolau is a good striker. And I just don't see Nicolau getting caught with a big knee from one of the biggest flyweights in the division. Again, like Perez, because I think that Perez, all he's really got on the feet is his boxing. He's still not kind of hard to know what he's going to do because he's only fought one time in the last year and a bit. And even then, that was a 90-second fight, which was an absolute war. It was fun, but I'm going to pick Nicolau. I'm going to pick Nicolau by decision. I think it's going to be a fun fight. I mean, people clowning this main event, I think, are a little bit silly because you do have to consider it's a short notice fight. Nicolau was meant to fight Karp. That would have been amazing, but this is it. This is what we got. This is it. This is it. This is the card. I mean, it's not even that bad. I feel like I'm just tired and stressed and all that. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And I'll see you guys in the next one.